Hi everybody, Nick Blazer here with a short little teaching video. I played an exciting match in the WBIF Individual Online Championship today, where we ended the match on a 16 cube. And I used some ideas from my book there to extend to an unfamiliar score, and I kind of wanted to share how to do that and how to use the material in the book to extend out to any match score. And that's kind of the idea of like the premise of the book is that we can use this to develop an intuition about how things are going to act in backgammon match play in general. But yeah, so if you haven't read my book yet, it's available on Amazon, or you can message me directly, and I'm happy to send you like a signed copy or something like that. In the U.S., for sure, people have them out at tournaments. I'm working at having people have them live overseas too. But yeah, if you ever buy them live or through me, then you keep the distribution cut in the backgammon community instead of going to Amazon. So that can be nice. But I mean, it really doesn't make a big difference to me. But yeah, check out my website for news on stuff I'm doing and other videos that you can watch. And also, I made my donation goal to get to Cyprus, so I'll be there doing commentary quite soon in the beginning of November. So thank you all so much for everyone that like watches these or found any reason to donate. I appreciate it a ton. I think that's really cool. I'm leaving that concept open to hopefully help me get out to some more tournaments in the short term. I'd like to go help out with the LA tournament in December. I at least mentioned New York, but it seems like probably not on that one. I'll be going to San Antonio in February. So there's always things coming up, and I think long term, maybe I can figure out a way to just provide the streaming and commentary and like sponsorship and things like that. And so it's like really on my mind with all this support to bring something together that will make this more consistent. But in the meantime, where we're just doing it tournament by tournament, like, I mean, donations make that possible sometimes, since the tournament directors don't always have budget to make this happen on their own. They're not always the main ones benefiting from it either. So I think it's really cool to see like the community jumping in, people that want to see this concept or content like getting involved somehow. So again, thank you so much. But yeah, without further ado, we'll get to some position analysis. This is a position from my book in the Recube chapter. And what I described there is that recubing a three-away score from further away, four away, seven away, further out away, all these kind of work the same where if we're given the gift of an initial cube, our opponent's take point is very high, 40% of this particular score. So it's not uncommon to have to send cubes as an underdog to prevent risking losing your market. And a nice reference for three-way scores is that it can be time to send it just with a shot like this. Three-way, five-way, and six-way aren't quite the same. You need maybe like one more shot than this. Um, so if I move the blot from the 18 to the 16, I think is the example I use, that is enough. But at many other three-way scores, just the shot's enough. So this is a nice concept that I demonstrate from Recubes here. And in a match that I played today, well, we came across this redouble situation. And we're at a completely different score, 9 away, 11 away. We're also at a cube on 4 turning to 8. So it might seem like this is a completely different scenario. But what I hope I'm teaching with my book is that fundamentally there's going to be things very similar in that when I receive this 8 cube, well, now my recube value, my opponent, I'm only missing out on my equity that I would have at playing at Crawford, 11 away, 11 away, 1 away Crawford, right? So turning the cube to 16 is going to be very easy for me to do. I'm not losing out on much doing that, and I'll need to get that in early. And because it's got, I mean, it's the same idea at these three-way scores where I'm only giving up my Crawford equity, and my opponent's take point is going to be different. So here it's actually my opponent's take point might not be that different since I would be claiming 308 at 9 away, which if I look at my match equity table real quick, without knowing it, it's at about 16%. Um, so, so my opponent will still be able to take pretty deep in this position. But the fact that I'm only giving up my Crawford equity still probably means that I should be sending this cube really aggressively similar to those three-way, four-way scores. So I had it in my head that if I get a shot, that will be enough to turn this cube to 16 and play for the match. And all because of that reference that I had pretty much, which allowed me to find an easier and more comfortable take in this position. Um, Now, it also allowed me to separate out my understanding of the position from my match score understanding. And I happened to get this right because of my match score understanding, but I would not have estimated my wins all the way at 38% here. So that's a deficit in my like regular backgammon score play, or not score play, my regular backgammon understanding of this position. I didn't realize I won that much. And so another idea from my book is that hopefully we can separate out our score play study from our positional study and realize in these positions which we need to know. So my big risk here was not understanding this position fundamentally. I thought I would take it for money, but I wasn't completely certain. Um, and yeah, if we can, like, once I went through the numbers and saw I was going to get a shot a lot, I thought I must have in like the 20s at least because I'm going to get a shot a lot of the time and then I'm still alive when I don't, you know. So it was looking pretty good, just not this good. But I felt better about it knowing that I was going to have such a potent recube. But anyway, so I find the take here and we move on a couple rolls. And my opponent rolls a 4-2 here, awful cracking number, and is forced to leave a direct shot and takes a checker off with it. And so I, as promised, had decided that if I got a shot, that was going to be enough to send it for the match here. And so as soon as this happened, this was a very easy recube to find for me. And a lot of players might have to spend time thinking about like whether we're even the favorite in this position, what are the odds and things like that. And to me, it was just a simple question of this four-way, three-way concept. You know, do I need to reserve that Crawford equity, or is it worth just sending on the giant market loss? And I think I'm going to lose my market by a decent amount here when I hit. So it's just more important to send on that upside than it is to claim the Crawford game. And even, you know, my opponent could just win the match on a gammon. That's not worth very much in this scenario. But yeah, yeah. Um, so I had already decided that I was just, if I got a shot, that was going to be enough. And so I sent it. And I got my shot and I sent it and got to play the game out on a 16 cube. And I guess you can go watch the video to see who won as a result. But yeah, this allowed me to find this play, which is exciting. You know, I'm not sure I would have otherwise. Um, yeah, I've thought about doing blunder analysis for some of these. I've seen someone ask for that, so maybe I'll do that in a future video. I only made a couple smallish mistakes, or not smallish, bigger ones, but yeah, my big ones. Why not? We'll just add that in here too. My big ones here, I describe in the video here too. Um, so I'm entering and hitting, and do I need to keep the anchor to avoid some super jokers and play deep? I'm not sure how I tricked myself into slotting. It looks kind of structurally difficult, but I mean, it was just paying off the super jokers more or less. But I can see my mobility is much better after the other play. And part of what I talked about after I made the incorrect play, I felt like it was over the board too. I was curious if my cube is better or worse after after I play out now. So he's got one checker off, and if I get a fan just like I did and I play out the right way, I'm curious what the recube action is here. And now it's a clear, huge pass. And the way I played it, I win 10% less, and my opponent got to take. So I got to get to a 16 cube instead due to my blunder. Sometimes they have really big impacts. Yeah. 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 I'm not sure what I was thinking. I don't know. Sometimes you trick yourself over the board. But I mean, we can use dice distribution to see exactly what happens too. After the 5-1, oh, we're way more sad after the 6-1. There's a very big swing on that. That's not too surprising, though it's a good roll either way, of course. What about after we slot the 1-1 should be better, I think. Yeah, so we are quite a bit better after the 1-1 over here at about 500 and that, but the 1-6 is better, and we can see what this is showing us too is that exactly what we saw in that recube action is that when this works, our opponent still has a take. You know, most cases we're about 800 equity, where in the other one, you know, when it works, we get a pass every time. which is worth quite a bit. So maybe I did balance out the Super Joker side of it effectively, but I wasn't realizing how big of a difference it was going to be on the Taker Pass. And I just, as soon as I got there to the fan in this redouble action, I realized, oh, he probably does have a take because I have a lot of numbers, not a lot of numbers, but any, 3-2-1 combos are just going to crack immediately instead of getting to close the board, which is a pretty significant risk and probably is where most of this 25% wins for our opponent comes from. So that's a real problem in this position. I didn't think how powerful the 3 prime could be once I spend all my pips here. But yeah, once I got to this position, I realized it. Yeah, so worth taking a little bit of a liberty there. Um, let's see. I had one other, I think it was in the first or second game, third game. I know I had one other checker play blunder. Yeah, this one. This might have been the only other one. Um, I was thinking here that I didn't need to run quite yet, but the gammon race is actually close. So I just need to save gammons. A lot of times I'm gauging it off of like how many, like I don't want to give up twos, ones, and 2-1 here necessarily, right? But a lot of times when it's only these 2 points and we're not spread out with three, it's better to just run and save the pips. So I don't know. I think this one's just a little bit of rust here to waste the gammon saving pips. Um, that's all I got on that one. I don't think I really made any other big ones. I think those were the two blunders. So yeah, we'll leave it at that. Got to play a pretty clean match otherwise. So yeah, thanks for checking this out. Hope it helps you with your game. Think about getting my book if you haven't already. And check out my website where I have information about, well, you can get the information here for how to donate if you want to contribute to more commentary and things like that. And I'll be in Cyprus soon talking to you more. Thanks, everybody. Bye now.